Hello there, everyone. This is Marcela Silva, certified land banking specialist, regional Bay Area manager with Valor Enterprises, and Land Baroness, here to share some mind-blowing numbers with you guys. And for those of you who are looking for an alternative investment, an alternative real estate investment, then listen up. Pay close attention because this opportunity is not going to last forever and you will see why. So let me go ahead and get started on this energy revolution. Some people are aware of it. Some people have no clue what's happening. But everyone who uses energy is going to pay for it at some point in their lifetimes. And we will all be affected by what's happening around this energy revolution. So today I'm going to talk very specifically about electric vehicles and how that translates to real estate, more specifically, energy real estate. Very unique opportunity available to investors right now. So if I can get this working here. Right now, we are seeing the largest shift of wealth happening globally. It is also causing the largest land rush in California's history. I'm talking specifically about California today, but it's also happening around the globe. And it has been mind-blowing. Over $60 billion has been invested already in infrastructure and in projects in the areas where we invest. And like I mentioned, it is the greatest land rush in California's history, and it's for the electrification of everything. CEO Larry Fink from BlackRock, largest hedge fund out there, they said they're putting sustainability at the center of their investment approach, meaning alternative energy, moving away from polluting the environment and going green. That's the goal there. This is an even more important message that he said. When you combine the $5 trillion global transportation industry with an energy industry whose renewable sector is growing dramatically, you get one of the most lucrative marriages of industries yet. Follow the money. I can't say this enough. That's why you see General Motors. They are committing to being a zero emission only car company by the year 2035. Same thing with Mercedes-Benz by the year 2030. I just heard Ford, they're putting $11 billion into going electric. Every car company out there is moving this way because they have to. Number one, because consumers want this type of new technology and they're environmentally friendly, but also government mandates across the globe are coming in, forcing this issue, moving us towards electric vehicles. So just on September 29th, 2021, I watched the Future Forum put on by Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation, LEDC, as well as California State University, Dominguez Hills, and they were specifically talking about the revolution of the EV industry. Very high-level panelists on the talk there, and I'm going to share what Laura Ringer, specifically, the Director of Electrification and Customer Services Policy at Southern California Edison, what she had to say about electric vehicles.
You know, if you look at what the CEC, the California Energy Commission, estimates that we need about 1.2 million public and shared EV chargers by 2030. And so that is a huge, significant number. And you know, if we're looking at electrifying 7 to 8 million EVs by 2030, that's a combination of, you know, charging at workplaces, charging at, you know, for long distance travel, etc. Really appreciate everything that our other panelists said, but there's one thing that's been missing, and that's the grid. So in order to power these vehicles, you need us, and we're ready, and we're excited. And so if you look at the last, kind of to get back to your original question, Justine, the last 10 years, I think what we've seen all the different technologies and such great improvements and making the cars more affordable. But let's not forget that we've also seen a lot of improvements in the grid itself and our ability to provide clean energy. And we're moving to carbon neutrality by 2045. We know that the only way to get there is through mass electrification of all sectors in our industry. And with a clean grid, that makes that possible. We are doing our best on this end to try to make sure that we get the grid ready, that we have a clean grid, because I think that's why we see the support from our regulators and our government and legislators for electrification, is because it will provide a clean alternative and get us to carbon neutrality.
An EV by itself cannot be successful. It's the whole infrastructure around it. It's the public-private, it's the charging infrastructure, it's the charging companies, it's the battery companies.
So as you can see, Southern California Edison is moving forward on their big plans of electrifying the grid by using alternative energy. More importantly, they talked about by the year 2030, it's 2021 right now. By the year 2030, they are planning on having around 7 to 8 million electric vehicles on the road in Southern California Edison territory. That is a mind-blowing number, especially when we start crunching those numbers on how much electricity those cars are going to need, and then further translate into how much land that's going to require. I think she said about 1.2 million new electric chargers coming onto the roads soon. And actually, California just won multi-millions of dollars for infrastructure. They're going to be putting that into greening the grid as well. So there's both private and public partnerships happening around this electrification. Big numbers are going into this. Billions has already been spent. And like CEO Larry Fink from BlackRock said, there's about $120 trillion that we're going to see shifting away from fossil fuels and towards alternative energy. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the largest shift of wealth we will probably ever see in our lifetimes. And it's happening faster than you can imagine. The global electric fleet is growing at a rate of 30% annually. This is happening very quickly. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, we're investing in real estate, energy real estate specifically, which is needed to power all of this. Government mandates by the year 2045 in California, California has to be a net zero state, meaning that all of their energy is coming from alternative energy. You can look up Senate Bill 100 to get further details on that, or watch one of my upcoming webinars to get all those details. So one electric vehicle requires between 50 kilowatt hours to 100 kilowatts per charge, just to wrap your mind around this. Now, I recommend you take out a piece of paper and start writing this information down. So how much land is needed? This is a brand new project which will be in operation by December of 2021. Big Bow Solar. I actually happen to own, yay me, a parcel of land right next to this project. And I've already started receiving long-term lease opportunities on my property. 25 years, all the way up to 45 years to lease my land to these solar projects and make a ton of money off of it. Yes, please. I'll take that all day long. And that's the type of opportunities that our investors are getting. Just one small example. So anyways, back to the numbers. Based off of how much land, 2,290 acres, this project is taking up, and how much energy they're creating, 188 megawatts of combination of solar and battery energy. That takes about 12.18 acres per megawatt of energy to create. We're going to make it super simple and conservative. Well, let's say 10 acres per megawatt of energy to be created. Got that? It takes 10 acres to create 1 megawatt of energy. All right, we're on the same page here. Now let's do some number crunching. Based off of what Southern California Edison said, they're going to need, they're planning for 7 to 8 million electric vehicles on the road in Southern California by the year 2030. Let's go conservative with 7 million. As I mentioned, it takes between 50 to 100 kilowatts for one full charge on an electric vehicle. So let's go middle of the road there, 75 kilowatts per car. So at 7 million cars, 75 kilowatts per car, that's about 525 million kilowatts of energy needed to power this per year. We change kilowatts into megawatts, that's 525,000 megawatts. And then we do another conversion. Remember, 10 acres to create 1 megawatt of energy. So at 525,000 megawatts of energy, we will need 5,250,000 acres of land. And if we convert that further to square miles, 8,203 square miles of land. Remember when in the beginning, I said mind-blowing? Yes, mind-blowing numbers. 8,000 square miles of land to power the electric vehicles that they're expecting on the road in the next 10 years. What about all of the homes and buildings and factories and everything else that's going on? Yes, this is huge. That's why I'm saying this is the largest shift of wealth that is happening globally. It's not just here in California. Government mandates across the globe are going in, getting us to carbon neutrality, getting us away from gas-powered cars. And it's not just governments either. Individual corporations like Apple, Google, Walmart, as an example, FedEx, think of all the FedEx trucks out there, all of those going electric. It defeats the purpose of an electric vehicle if you are powering it from fossil fuels. It has to come from alternative energy, and the amount of land needed for that, like I said, mind-blowing. So back to the point here. Executive Order N7920 was passed in 2020, says it shall be the goal of the state of California that 100% of in-state sales of new passenger cars and trucks will be zero emission by the year 2035. By the way, this could be moved earlier. In either case, 2035 is the goal there. It shall further be the goal that 100% of medium and heavy-duty vehicles in state be zero emission by 2045. Okay, forget all the passenger cars. What about all the big rig trucks? There's about 1.7 million of those on the road every single year in California and growing. If you haven't noticed, we live in a consumer nation. Every method of transportation out there is going green, from the boats to the trucks, to the trains, to the planes. It's not just passenger cars. Everything is going there. You guys may have heard of Maersk, one of the huge shipping companies. They're going green on their global fleet. All of this requires energy to power. Where's it going to come from? No more big rig, stinky diesel trucks. Thank you very much. Hallelujah to that. I hate the smell of diesel. Makes me sick. Anyways, how much energy does one of those guys require? Okay, Tesla semi-truck has about a 500-mile range, requires the same amount of energy as 700 homes per hour to power one truck. Huge numbers. Huge, huge numbers. And guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg, what I'm sharing you today. If you want to learn more, hop on one of my webinars. The wind and solar boom is here. It's here to stay. It is the cheapest electricity in history. Not only is it government mandates trying to get us to a healthier environment for everybody, but also it always comes down to the money. Solar is the cheapest. And the amount of land needed for it is mind-blowing. So the future is happening faster than you think. You might not like it. It's already going on. Just like horse and buggy days. You know, look at New York City, Fifth Avenue in 1900. Do you see a single car on the road there? It's all horse and buggies. A short 13 years later, you don't see a horse out there. It's all cars. Same situation is happening again. But instead of, a huge oil boom, now it's an electricity boom. And we are investing. I am helping, along with a company that's been doing this for over 40 years, we are helping people invest in the fundamental asset of land for this fundamental resource. So, when COVID hit, I had no stress. My investors had no problems because energy is always going to be needed. Land is always going to be needed. What about all the land needed to build those gigafactories on? Yep, we'll invest in that too. So the largest shift of wealth is happening. The largest land rush in California's history is happening. And we are helping investors invest in energy real estate. And it's going to be needed to power everything. And by the way, these projects can't go anywhere and everywhere. The amount of infrastructure needed, the right type of environment that's needed, the certain kind of land that's needed. There's so much involved in this opportunity. And of course, when you work with experts, that's where you want to be. Oh, that's me. Have you ever said anything like, I'm sick of tenants, toilets, and termites? Oh, and troubles, the 4 T's. The only way my 401k or IRA goes up is when I put money into it. I'll never be able to save enough to retire. I wish I could invest in an asset that goes up in value. I wish I could find an easy way to invest in real estate. I need to do a 1031 exchange. I need to diversify. I hate stressing about my investments or the stock market is too volatile. If you have ever said any of those things, for me, when I first became a land banker, I hated that the only way my 401k went up was when I put money into it. It was ridiculous. I knew I was never going to be able to achieve the dreams and goals that I had for my financial future just investing in a 401k. But just what the heck is that? And how much money are they making off of me? They're making money whether you're making money or not. No, not for me. That's why I have chosen to put my money in land, the original investment on earth. But you have to do it correctly. Buying land incorrectly, that's where land speculation comes in, and we're not interested in that type of thing. So please get in touch with me if you are interested in energy real estate. Marcella Silva, you can reach me at marcella@dirtisgold.com is my email. Or you can go to dirtisgold.com and input your information so we can get you on our upcoming webinar. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this information, learned something new at the very least. Please spread the love, spread the joy, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.